Today I'm in the wood yard, it's boiler wood delivery day. Here we go. So the other day I cut up this load of boiler wood. It's all 21, 22 inches. I cut it pretty much right around there, and it's what I did to get the maximum amount out of each log. This customer wants big wood, boiler wood, big chunks, bigger the better. And because the sticks of logs are 100 inches, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, if I cut them 20 inches, it gives you 5 rounds out of each log, and then I split it down. Now I split most of these with the 4-way, some of them just with the top of the 4-way. So basically I'm trying to end up with pieces that are pretty substantial. Now some of this was dry when I split it, like maybe 20% of it. When I split it open, you could tell it was dry. But then a bunch of it, some of the bigger ones especially, were definitely wet on the inside. But this wood is not for burning this summer, or this fall, or this coming winter, or next spring, or next summer, not until the next fall. So this is going to be sitting for almost a year by the time the person wants it. So it's going to a customer that 2 years in a row now bought a semi-load, complete semi-load, so 12 full cords from me for their boiler. And this last fall, they got a brand new wood boiler, a high efficiency one that the manufacturer told them it would burn half as much wood. And that's good for them, bad for me, but that's just the way it is. So we're gonna do 4 loads this year, so it'll be half a semi-load, because there's 4 face cords, so it'll be a full cord and a third in each load. And so that would be 4 loads. That's gonna end up being, so that would be 16 face cords, or 5 1/3 full cords, if you talk that way. And some people would say, well, your pieces now are longer, they're 20 inches instead of 16. Doesn't matter. When I fill the trailer, it fits 4 face cords, or 4 third cords, full cord and a third. Because the pieces are longer, I'm accounting for that volume wise. Basically like a measuring cup, when the trailer's full, it's full, and it holds 4 face cords or a full cord and a third. Because they're getting the extra pieces, it's still the same amount of wood, even though when you stack it, it's going to be less, but longer, wider. You know what I mean, for those of you that have been around a while. So I'm going to deliver this load right now, and I did raise my prices. Now last 2 years, I did $100 per face cord, so $400 per load, so it'd be a full cord and a third, because I never touched the wood from the time it was on the processor to the time it went into the trailer, and then I just dump it. Not storing it, not stacking it, none of that. This is different. Because my processor right now is getting some new parts put on it, they're doing some upgrades to it, I cut this with my chainsaw. You saw that on that video, you should have. And then I split it with the splitter. So all in, with the Wolf Ridge right over there. So all in, I had about 2.5 hours to make a load. So not terrible. With the processor, it would have taken a half an hour, if that. And I got a pile sitting over there. You can see that stuff that's right over there. That is also going to be for the same order. And I'm just going to keep going until I fill the order, because the processor's not back yet and I need to get going on this. So not only do I have that load, I also have this over here too. All the stuff with the red hash marks, that is the stuff that is wet and needs to be dried for an additional year yet. There is some dry stuff in there, and I'll separate that out as we go. So I'm going to deliver this one right now. Then when I come back, we're going to head over to that pile. I'm going to cut another load and split it and load it, and then either deliver it later today or tomorrow, whenever it's convenient for them, because they want to stack it as we go, so I don't just have a mountain of wood in front of their woodshed. Usually I do this over a 2-week period, so I'll deliver a load, come back, process another one, deliver that load next to it, and then they stack it. Usually give them 2-3 days, then I can do it again and then again. So that is kind of the plan. But like I said, I raised my prices. I went from $100 per third of a cord to $110 because my log prices went up, fuel's up. So this load's 440 bucks, and the next one will be 440, the next one will be 440, the next one will be 440, and then we may even end up doing 6 loads. When I talked to them, they said, you know, half as much as what we burned, but we had a cold winter, so they actually burned a little bit more, and we had a longer winter, so they burned a little bit more. So maybe I can talk them into doing 6 loads. Just to have cushion, because the last thing you want is to run out of wood in the middle of winter when you need it. And the fact they're buying 2 years in advance, 2 years supply, smart move. Everybody should do that. If you heat with wood, you should always have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years worth of wood ready to go. So that's just me, but that's a smart move. So down the road we go for the big dump. So there's the first dump, and all the wood's going to be stored on the other side of the boiler. This is wood that I delivered last year over here. I delivered a full semi-load last year, so it was all of this plus some others because of room, and this is where all this stuff is going to go now. So they'll go all the way out there and then all along this wall and then through here and eventually over to there. So probably room for 6-8 loads. This is the new boiler. It is a Central Classic Edge 760 stainless titanium. Nice boiler, and I don't imagine that it was free. New stainless steel flue chimney, and there it is. It's a nice looking one too. And I'll find out what these cost. I'm guessing, from what I know, if you burn half as much wood with these high efficiency ones, like Tony has the same setup, he's got a high efficiency one, and if you burn half as much wood and you're buying your wood, instead of her paying, let's just pick a number, say last year it was like $3,200 of wood that she bought from me, if she can cut that in half, $1,600, just say 1,600 times 10 is $16,000 in 10 years. This last 20 years, it's $32,000, which I know more than covers the cost of this. I'm thinking, I'm just gonna guess ballpark here. This is probably a $15,000 unit. I don't know, I'll look it up. I'll put it on the screen. I don't know, I'm not familiar with this one at all. But we'll look it up and I'll put it on the screen. So it'll pay for itself, plus a lot less wood, a lot less loading, more efficient. If you've got an old style boiler, one that goes through massive amounts of wood, upgrading might be the thing. If you can get your, you can get enough life out of it. If you're not someone who's 80, that probably doesn't make sense to buy one if you're 80 years old, because they last 20-25 years. I think that's what the warranty. Yeah, it says 25 year warranty on it. And so yeah, plus installation, whatever that's gonna be. I'll look it up, I'll put it on the screen. So, all right, we're gonna go make another load. I'm gonna deliver, I don't think I'm gonna deliver it today, but I'm gonna get it cut and I'm gonna get it split in the trailer, and I can deliver it either tomorrow or the day after. That is the plan. That way I can keep going on this. All right, it's 88 degrees. It's supposed to hit 92 today. It's toasty. I'm gonna be a sweating child when I go back to cutting. All right, folks, that delivery is done, and I just texted the customer and said, hey, I could do another one right now and deliver it later today or first thing tomorrow, and they said, fine, do it. So I'm gonna cut some more wood today. That's what I want. I want to fill this order as fast as possible. And I've got the wood, I've got the saw, I got time today. Bad thing is it's 92 degrees right now. I'm sweating just standing here. Luckily, my cutting area is over here. That's the pile of logs I'm going to be cutting right there. And as the sun goes across that direction, I'll get some shade over there, but for now it's going to be sunny. I'm going to cut about a tank with my 592, and the reason I'm using the 592 is because I love it. It cuts fast, less time cutting. Small saw, I'd be standing there more, fighting the saw more. Yeah, it's a heavy saw, but I'm cutting in a log pile. And as far as measuring, the last time you saw me cut that pile, at least you should have, I used the 20-inch stick. I got a 20-incher, and then I used spray paint, and I went and I marked the logs. Didn't work so good. If you're only cutting a few logs, I suppose it would be okay, or if you got weeks to cut, I want to get it done. And what happens is, as you mark your first row of logs, 4 or 5 logs, and you cut them, they roll on, they move, and then what happens is your top cut it'll roll and you can't see where it was, or you can't see your tape mark or your spray paint mark at all. So the whole spray paint chalk thing, not for me. Might be for you, but not for me. And I also use just the stick by hanging onto the stick on the top of the bar and then, you know, lining it up on the log and then cutting. Again, it's an extra step. It's not a lot, but if you cut that way all the time, that little extra 3-4 seconds it takes you to lay the stick down, look at where your cut is, get your saw, and then go to that cut, it just takes extra time. And I'm all about saving time, so here's what I did. Some of you are asking, what happened to the saws with the marker on them, my zip tie? Well, I'll show you. So I just sharpened the 592 up, and I decided to put a marker on here. So from the side of the bar to the end of this tip is 20 inches. Now normally I would have it 16, it would be right here, because I cut a lot of 16-inch stuff, which is the standard. But this customer wants 20-inch stuff, and by cutting 20 inches, I can get 5 rounds out of one log, because it's 100-inch logs, and that's going to work pretty good. If they're 19, it's not the end of the world. If it's 21, it's not the end of the world, because it's all going to burn. It's going to turn to ash. I know there's guys that would cut a 1/4 inch off the end of a round just to make sure it's the right size. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So there's that. Okay, so I got it sharpened up. I got my new marker on here, and I'm going to go gas it up, put some oil in here, and let the sweating begin. go. So I just cut about a tank and a half with the 592 awesome saw. If you cut any amount of firewood, especially if you're selling it, and you cut in log piles, you want a big saw. It works for ripping, cutting. It cuts so much faster than a little weenie saw. 70 to me is like minimum, 60 maybe, 50 no. 90cc saw, so whether you're a steel guy or a Husqvarna guy, if you're a Husqvarna guy, the 592 is awesome. I've run the 661 steel, same thing basically. They both cut fantastic. So it's about a tank and a half, and it's plenty here now for a load. So the fun part is done. Now the work starts. Now I got to start splitting and lifting big rounds and chucking them. Look at that, another load of wood in the trailer. So cutting it was a tank and a half, and I think I cut for just a little over an hour, like maybe an hour and 10 minutes, something like that. And I still have all these to go. There's gonna be 2 more loads I'm gonna deliver for sure. The one earlier today and this one will be today, and then either this weekend or next week I'll deliver another 2 loads for sure, and then maybe 2 more after that. And then the rest of this is all gonna get cut up. So there's some big nasties in here, as you can see. So those will take some ripping. There's some stuff I didn't want to run through the processor, so I kind of threw all the hand cutting type stuff over here. Stuff that was, you know, crotchy, knotty things like this. And so that's the stuff that's going to be. So it's red oak and white oak. So the first load's delivered. I'm going to go deliver this one in about 10 minutes. So splitting, I think it took just a hair over an hour, but I took about a 10-minute break. I sat over here in the shade for a little while because I was getting a little dizzy like. I drained, this is a 64-ounce tank here. I drained it twice today. I had it full, I drank the whole thing, and then I had a couple little bit of chunks of ice in there, and I filled it all up with Powerade again, and just finished it off. So that's twice. So it's 128 ounces in the last few hours. So I'm sweating. It's hot. But this shade, I gotta tell you, with these trees, absolutely awesome. It's so much cooler in the shade here than it is out in the sun. As you can see, there's sun over there. In the morning, that's shaded because that's east and that's west. And these cottonwoods here are, I never thought I'd say this, but I love the cottonwoods. They're good shade trees, and they're nice for putting the logs up against here on the outside rim too. So it's working out pretty dang nice. The shade is awesome to work in. I got a nice breeze coming from the west. So pretty dang cool. The Wolf Ridge 17 RS splitter is working fantastic. Now a lot of guys would say, oh, that's too small. You need a log lift. I am the log lift. I need the exercise. I am a rotten, old, crusty bag of moldy oatmeal, and I need exercise. I need more, not less. So none of these are too big to lift, I don't think. I mean, there's one big one here. I ripped this one down. There's going to be a couple other ones in there. But most of these here, I don't think are much over 100 pounds. So not too bad. Once they get to be like 120, 130, I can tell. I can lift them, but I don't like it. So the bigger ones, if there's some big nasties in there, I will rip those down so that I can handle them. But the auto cycle on this thing is awesome. I was able to set a log in, send it, turn around, grab another round, set it in there. By the time I come back, it was all done. And then I just threw all the rounds into the trailer. An elevator would be nice, and it's going to be nice. I'm researching elevators right now. I'm looking at like 4 different companies. I just don't know which one I want. There's a couple I've worked with in the past, and I'm going to be getting an elevator 100%. So I'm actually going to show you guys in a video upcoming my choices for elevator, what I'm thinking about, what I want to get size-wise, what it's capable of doing and all that. And I'll have you guys take a look and tell me what you think. But I kind of have 2, maybe 3 possibilities, 4 maybe. I've had companies reach out to me with elevators that are, I don't know, how do I say this in a nice way? They're not made in the United States. Matter of fact, they're not made on this continent. And they're from overseas. And yeah, they probably work, but long term, I want something that I can depend on. I don't want to buy a piece of junk that's going to last a couple of years and then have to replace it. I want something good, something that'll hold its value, like this, like that, stuff like that. I want stuff that's the best I can afford, basically. So, all right, I'm going to quit talking. We're going to go make a big steamy dump.